America's workforce. Its strength is our nation's success. Join Ronnie Spellman on I Build America podcast as we explore innovative solutions and inspiring stories from leaders and workers shaping America. Discover actionable insights to build a motivated workforce.
I build America.
Welcome to the I Build America podcast. I'm here with Michael MacDonald.
Hey, Ronnie.
Mike, welcome.
Well, welcome you. You're here in Detroit. So.
I know. I am in Michigan, and you are like the face of Michigan.
Yeah, right.
I've been around you so much now. You've introduced me to so many people, and you have this amazing ecosystem that revolves around you. Mm-hmm. From elected officials to business leaders and entrepreneurs and new products. I'm amazed. I don't know if I've ever seen someone represent a state so well as you do here in Michigan, just from your leadership and what you've done. So you're a former state senator.
Correct, yeah.
You have a doctorate degree.
Healthcare administration.
Healthcare administration. You've done so much.
Which I use all the time, by the way.
But to hear people talk about your leadership in the community as well is just incredible. But tell us about your journey and how did you reach the state senate and your passion for the aerospace industry and all that you're doing. So walk us through that journey. Our focus is on the workforce piece. Mm-hmm. And in Michigan, you're doing a lot to continue to diversify the economy, to grow the population. You're surrounded by a lot of water, so you've begun looking at space exploration activities and space travel. From what you're doing, but you've done a lot. Tell us what you've done.
So I grew up in Mount Clemens, Michigan, which is the county seat of Macomb County.
Okay.
Anybody who's from Macomb County knows about the Selfridge Air National Guard Base and our history with defense.
Right.
So we were known as the arsenal of democracy.
Yes.
Michigan and Detroit, a lot of people don't know this. We had the first mall. First paved road,
very cool.
First freeway. And the reason we had the first freeway is because of World War II.
Right.
We built almost the entire military for World War II.
I think you had the first paved airport as well, if I remember correctly.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, I think so. I think that was one of the projects by Ford, because Ford had the first commercial airplane flying U.S. mail, and so you were the first in, as you mentioned, a lot of different areas.
And a lot of people wouldn't think about it this way, but Detroit was the wealthiest city in the country in the 50s.
Wow.
And people don't remember what our brand really was. We were able to turn around the whole war effort because of our manufacturing.
Nice.
So we've always been a hub for that. But it's a branding thing, right?
Right.
Cars are cool. They're awesome. Yeah. They're not space.
Right.
They're not aerospace. Young people today want the jobs of the future.
Right.
The auto industry provides us with amazing manufacturing. So all I'm trying to do is diversify what we build.
Right.
Whether it's chips, whether it's satellites, whether it's space, we can do it all because we did it all for World War II.
You know what's interesting as well? I think before I started coming to Detroit and Michigan, my impression was that you had the auto industry. It's not space.
It's not
but you
space.
had my impression was that you had the auto industry, and it's an industry that's been around for a while at this point, that I would come here and I would see these old manufacturing facilities because that's kind of the impression you get, not being from here or having traveled here. And it's not. You have some incredible facilities, advanced manufacturing. It's an amazing place to be. You look at these factories and you think, wow, there's a lot happening here in Michigan and Detroit specifically.
You're from Texas, right?
I
was told specifically because as I tried to pursue space, I studied and worked with states who have been successful with space.
Right.
As we know, Texas has been successful, Florida, Colorado, Arizona, Alabama. So I studied and I worked with them. And you know what Texas told me?
What's that?
They said, Senator, you have a manufacturing might that this world has never seen.
Right.
The fact that you continually lose business to us is a shame, and it's one reason for that. Right. They said you have no idea how to market your state or what you have.
Right.
So I created the Aerospace Defense Caucus to rebrand and reimage what our state's identity was. We already have it all. Yeah, we've got the water. We've got the manufacturing. We've got the schools. We've got the universities. We have U of M's the oldest aerospace college in the country. Yeah. What we don't have is a good marketing strategy for young people to come and live and work here. Right. What we do have to market is vacations, tourism.
Sure.
Pure Michigan, very cool. Right. Shows how beautiful our state is. It doesn't explain why you should live here or work here.
That's true.
It doesn't explain what kind of job opportunities there are here.
Right.
But it's great for tourism and going up north. What I'm trying to do is keep that, but expand on it and not only explain why a person should visit here, but why they should live here and work here.
Right, right. Now, what are you doing? So that's for the individual. What are you doing for the businesses? How do you help businesses understand their opportunities for moving? I was looking at...
Glad you said that, actually.
Yeah,
because
I know.
why are you here? Workforce.
Yeah, right.
What is something that we provide better than every other state? Workforce. I'll give you a specific example of Florida, of my experiences in Florida. So I did a Space Day resolution. It's right behind me, actually. You can read it. SpaceX got wind of that and said, oh, no, you mean Michigan wants to do aerospace? Well, we should get a delegation of the state people down here to check out Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach. Okay. I didn't go because I didn't want to shirk my responsibilities at the time as a senator, but some of my colleagues went. Right. So later on, when I wasn't a senator, I took on my own dime, I went down there and I checked out the facilities. Right. What I had found out is a lot of our aerospace industry here is already working with Blue Origin and SpaceX. Okay. But here's what's interesting. So there, one of them in particular in Warren, Michigan, is doing parts for Blue Origin. So they have an office in Cocoa Beach, right next to Cape Canaveral. And they said, Senator, here's the issue with Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral and Florida. Right. It's a wasteland for talent. Right. So I was driving to their office in one of their locations, and they actually had a car pulled up, and they had an electrical issue. The car had Sterling Heights, Michigan plates. And I'm thinking, what? So you had somebody drive from Sterling Heights to Florida. Right. And they said, Senator, not a senator currently, but people still call me senator. They're like, Senator, we can't find any skilled trades talent in the whole South. Not Florida. The South. Right. The closest you can go is New Orleans. So basically what's happening is other states providing cool opportunities. And they're stealing our workers because we're the ones that provide the workforce. Interesting. Because we're the ones that build the workforce. We have the training here. I will. And so that's our value proposition. If we could take the opportunities as well, then we already have the workforce and we'll start attracting others to come here.
I was looking at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Michigan is ranked #1 in the nation for concentration of engineers. Mm-hmm. Incredible. With 250,000 workers in the skilled trades, Michigan's skilled trades workforce ranks in the top 10 nationally. Mm-hmm. Just some incredible statistics. Michigan ranks in the top 10 for total STEM degree completions in the nation. Michigan ranks #1 in the nation for its concentration of commercial and industrial engineers. Top 10 for America's best employers for new grads. So you're right, Michigan is 4th largest engineering design and development workforce in the nation.
So imagine how I felt when U of M, our oldest aerospace college in the United States, took me on a tour of their aerospace college. Yeah. And my co-chair of the caucus, the Democrat state rep, Joe Tate. Right. And they said, Senator, we're so thrilled to tell you this. Everybody who graduates our program has got jobs already at SpaceX. And I'm thinking, it's not here, though. It's Florida. Right. So we're training the workforce for other states. But we should be doing space here. We have advantages over those states, not only our manufacturing, our geography. Right. We have access to water. Right. We have restricted airspace. Right. We have bases all around the state that are underutilized until now with the F-15 mission.
That's cool. Tell us about the F-15 mission. Yes.
Well, I can tell you that I've had conversations with our current governor and our caucus about the opportunities for aerospace defense. Mm-hmm. And General Paul Rogers, who's our adjunct general, is fantastic. He's been telling and prepping the governor on these opportunities. And finally, bipartisanship, right? Yes. It's not about political party. Right. Trump comes in and says, yeah, it's great. What wouldn't you love about this area? Yeah. F-15s, we've been looking for a mission for a long time. It's actually one of those things that, and the reason why I started the caucus, it's not political. Right. I don't give a crap about who your political party is. Get the job done. Right. Get it done. Right. Get it here in Detroit, Michigan. Right.
Now, you mentioned the water around Michigan. Most people don't recognize what you just described. Tell us about what that looks like.
I would say if you were an alien and you came to Earth, your instant reaction would be, well, this has to be the headquarters, right? You ever seen Michigan on a map? It's surrounded by almost half the world, whatever the case, fresh water. It's like whatever percentage of the fresh water. It's insane. It's nestled between, we have more coastline than all the coastal states have. Yes. We have more boating here than California has, or Florida. Who would know that, right? Right. It's an attractive thing not only for recreation, but for jobs, too. Mm-hmm. Water is industry, right? Right.
And then you're absolutely right. I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention that before, that you have more boats than even California.
Who would think that?
Wow.
Nobody would think that.
Okay.
We're actually trying in the process of renaming St. Clair or Harrison Township as St. Clair Shores Boat Town, USA. I'm all for it. Anything to make it attractive to come live here and work here. Right. I think we got the live here part kind of down, but the work thing is, I think, where we really need to increase our brand. And that's where the aerospace, defense, and technology industries are so appealing. Why can't Detroit be the new Silicon Valley? Right. We were. Right. We were the innovator in everything. Yeah. until the 70s, 80s, 90s, and our brand took a hit.
Right.
It's coming back now, but you don't know that unless you're here because nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Nationally, when I created the caucus, I went to the Pentagon, and I met with the leadership there, and they said, wow, that's smart, by the way. Your federal delegation has been complaining about your state forever. It's like, well, how can we compete with Texas if the state puts all this in and the state of Michigan doesn't put it in? But I'll be honest with you, Senator, what is your goal? I said, it's simple. I want to see Michigan be the aerospace defense economic driver of the United States of America.
Sure.
And they said, well, nobody thinks you guys are any one of those things. And I'm like, well, it's because we're not marketing ourselves properly. But what they did say was you should be. Because not only do you have the manufacturing, situationally, you guys are landlocked in the middle of the country, which makes you much less vulnerable to attack as the coastal states.
Right.
So what are you waiting for?
That's interesting.
It's like we're waiting for everyone to just work together.
Sure. What do you think it'd take as the next step to build that industry where you need it to go?
It's already built. It's about collaboration.
Okay.
What Huntsville, Alabama does better than Michigan is they can collaborate statewide.
Right.
It's not political either. It's not a Republican-Democrat thing. It's a stakeholder issue. Okay. It's a regional, geographic issue.
Why Alabama, though? Like, how do they make it work?
Huntsville has made it work, and they've come together to support the aerospace defense industry like no other state.
Right.
And they've made it work for them. They've attracted all sorts of companies and all sorts of diversity with aerospace defense.
Yes.
Michigan could wipe the floor with them, but we have a much more difficult time working together.
Okay.
Maybe it's the roots of the auto industry. Maybe it is the political polarization. But regionally, you have disputes. It's just hard to get all the groups to come together.
Okay.
Now, when I created the caucus, I created it statewide because I knew that Grand Rapids has to get along with Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor has to get along with Macomb. Detroit has to get along with Oakland County, Macomb County, the UP. So geographically, we have a very interesting situation in Michigan. Yes. Grand Rapids thinks they're doing their own thing. Ann Arbor thinks they're their own country. UP thinks they're not a part of Michigan. Detroit versus everybody. Right. Macomb County's got their own thing going on with manufacturing. Oakland County is the wealthy place. You have all these different regional disputes. If everybody just came together in Michigan, we would be the wealthiest state again.
Right.
We'd be wiping the floor with New York and California and all those because we have more resources than they have.
Right.
It's just a matter of collaborating.
Right.
And maybe it's the roots of the auto industry that made us competitive with each other.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We're competitive with each other.
Okay.
Not other states, each other.
Sure.
And getting these groups to come and collaborate and work together, it's been difficult.
Right.
I'm trying to do it statewide.
Okay.
And it's they're getting there. I think they're getting closer.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a visionary leader at the state level just to say, look, everybody's going to get a piece.
Right.
Just work together.
Right. Now, what made you decide to run for state senator?
Well, actually, it was my healthcare background.
Okay.
So when I did my doctoral degree in healthcare administration, I was working on my dissertation. And, by that point, the only trajectory is run a hospital.
Right.
So a lot of my classmates were already running hospitals, and they said, well, you can affect more good in healthcare as policy.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe you should, you got a good temperament, Mike. You tend to look at things in a way that you listen to people.
Right.
You would probably make a good elected official, public servant.
Right.
So it kind of planted the seed, and I got through the doctoral degree. Was always very supportive of the military. They made me the vice president of the Michigan Air Force Association. And because of my doctoral degree, they said the military has a reverence for education. That's why a lot of people get into the military.
Sure.
So I said, look, I wasn't an Air Force guy. And the president at the time said, I don't care. I think you can help.
Wow. So
getting to know all the different stakeholder groups in aerospace defense, when I became elected, it was a no-brainer. Had my healthcare stuff already. I was on health policy, health appropriations. I got a lot of money for hospitals, but on this other trajectory, looking at changing the brand of Michigan and Detroit for the betterment of everybody here, that was a no-brainer.
Right.
And then you get to know people like the owner of the building here, Ron.
Yes. Yes. Now, healthcare, I'm told, is a major industry here in Michigan as well.
Well, the reality is, whether it's federally or state, healthcare is the biggest issue. It is. It takes up most of the budget.
Right.
It's one of those things that people don't always campaign on, but they should, because what's more important than your health?
Right.
I've always tried to focus more on preventative care. I think that would help.
Yes.
But at the same time, you got to recognize people need help, and we have to have a functioning healthcare system. So.
Yeah. But as an industry, it employs a lot of people from a workforce development perspective.
And we need to do something to attract more nurses and doctors.
Okay.
And that was a big issue in Michigan too, is what incentives do we have? So Whether you like student loans or don't like student loans, I don't care where you fall in that perspective. I got a doctoral degree. I know what a student loan is. I owe about $100 million, okay? You shouldn't pile on it because you know who takes out those loans? Doctors,
Yes,
nurses, healthcare professionals that are super, super important to our ecosystem.
Right.
I mean, a lot of those people the doctors come out millions of dollars in debt.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this, but doctors don't just instantly make a lot of money.
They do.
It takes a long time for them to actually make good money. I mean, what incentive do they have if people are making fun of the people with student loans all the time? Ha, 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 you took the loan, pay it back.
Right.
Okay, well, we just lost a couple of people that might have wanted to become doctors.
Right.
My motto is don't ever give anybody. Always understand people are coming from a perspective where they mean well.
Right.
Don't ever pile on somebody.
Agree.
You don't know what a person's going through.
Yep.
Always be helpful and listen.
So what's next for you in this evolution? I know that we spoke about migration out of Michigan, and your goal is to get people moving in. And you want to build the aerospace industry. What's the game plan now? Where do you want to go? Where do you see Michigan being in the next 5-10 years? You love this state clearly because you're out representing it all over the country.
And I love Macomb County.
Yeah.
And I know Trump loves Macomb County.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time. There's a reason for that. Michigan is the biggest swing state in the country, and Macomb County is the biggest swing county in the country.
Yes.
All roads for the presidency run through Macomb County.
Interesting.
So it's a very important area.
Right. Right.
I'm having fun helping private companies be successful. I've been working with the private sector, and I still advise the Aerospace Defense Caucus, and there's a lot of work Michigan still needs to do to attract this industry here. In terms of being elected again, let the people, let me know if they get a sense of whether it's something I should do again as a servant or we'll see.
So you're out in private sector now helping these businesses figure out how to make their relocation and grow and build in Michigan.
Yep.
Which is really, really neat. No, it takes I've had a lot of conversations with companies that are looking to expand and run good businesses, and sometimes they don't recognize how important it is to have someone who understands the policy side, like you mentioned with your healthcare friends. So critical. You take healthcare, there's so many regulations governing healthcare. I remember when HIPAA first came out, I implemented that in my healthcare company. But there's just so much regulation that sometimes it makes it challenging. And as companies expand and move to new places, they have to understand what those policies are in each state. And it sounds like you're helping them figure out those logistics, but also connecting them with other like-minded people so they can build this collaboration.
What's ideal is government should have oversight. But it should let businesses and companies move at the speed of business.
Yeah.
just enough oversight to make sure everybody's a good actor,
right.
But allow companies and allow private sector and healthcare to be able to move efficiently.
Right.
And, you have 4 sectors I look at. You have academia, you have military, you have government, and you have private sector. Right. How do you get all those groups to collaborate for efficiency, right? Well, the only way to do that is you got to communicate, because if you're not communicating, you're fighting.
Right.
And the best thing the elected officials can do is just be a conduit to communication.
Right.
So I would tell this to constituents all the time. It doesn't matter if I can help you directly or not. I can open the door for somebody who can help you. Right. If it's a federal issue, I'll call your congressman. I know him personally or her personally. Yeah. If it's a local issue, I'll call your mayor. If it's a county issue, I'll call your commissioner.
Right.
If it's a private issue, believe me, people will take my call, handle it. If it's a department issue, I'll call one of the departments. Okay. The elected official's job really should be your lobbyist. Right. So big companies have access because they hire lobbyists.
Right.
Everybody has a lobbyist. It's called your elected official.
Yeah.
You do pay, and it is through your taxes.
Right.
And an elected official should represent you and work for you and open whatever door you need because they are your lobbyists.
Right. Now, you might have a different perspective than maybe many other elected officials, which is refreshing, that you're here to serve the people in your constituents. So people can call you and they know they can count on you to respond, which
I'll give you
great.
a good specific example. So my district is actually, I'm a Republican, but I was a Democrat district. Okay. They redrew it and even made it more Democrat.
Right.
So I was down in Detroit knocking doors and in the south side of Macomb knocking doors. And the average person knows nothing about government.
Right.
They might know who the president is. Well, they probably know who the president is. They might know who the governor is. Other than that, they'd have no idea. They have no idea who their federal representatives are, their state representatives. They have no clue who their county, local people are. So you go knock on a door, and it instantly becomes like a Trump or Biden thing, right? Right. So it has nothing to do with me. Right. It's like, well, you're President Trump. I got a bone to pick with. It's like, okay, listen, let's talk. Let's stand back. I'm gonna step back for a minute. Okay, my name's Mike. Yes. What do you do for a living, sir? Well, I'm like a carpenter. Okay, well, that's good. I'm learning about you. How you have a family. Okay. So I'm just kind of digging in, right? Okay, you have a family. That's good to know. So we're kind of steering away from whatever the hell he's talking about, Trump. Okay, sir, so I'm your state senator. What can I do for you? It's like,
Right.
oh, well, okay, fine. I'll push you to the test. This street here, it's like it's a residential street, but it's a cut-through street to a main road, a main highway road. People come speeding down here all the time. So finally we're getting to it, right? People come speeding down here all the time, and there's kids that live here. What can you do about that? I'm like, okay, give me a second. So I whip out my phone. I call one of the local government people, say, hey, we have a local issue, not a state issue, a federal issue, it's a local issue. Cars come speeding down here. What would you suggest? Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Senator, for bringing that to our attention. We'll have a police officer put a sign up today.
Okay. I love it.
And then the guy goes, oh, I like you. It's like you did something. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, what's the point, right? What are we debating Trump and Biden for?
Right.
What do you need?
Right.
Give a shit who you're Democrat. I'm here.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah.
And I'll do my best to help you.
That's fantastic.
But it's so simple. It's not complicated.
Right.
It's almost like it's divide and conquer, right? You get people to fight one another, and then people don't pay attention to the reality of anything.
Their day to day. Well, and people probably need to interact with you to recognize that what you say is who you are.
Well, it's
Like
just
you're the
access,
real
right?
deal. Right.
Access comes through either knocking the door directly or having coffee hours, or just make sure you give people access.
Right.
And if people want to yell at you, that's no problem.
Right.
So if you're an elected official and you don't think people are going to yell at you, then you're not a good elected official. People are going to yell at you. People might do it, and they might even like you and yell at you just because you're there.
Right.
I mean, you should know that when you got the job, people are going to yell at you. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Deal
Comes
with it.
the process.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
Yeah. So, Michael, workforce development. You've been working with so many groups, including an organization that we've met with, Team Up Academy, and you're doing so much across the state just to build workforce. I appreciate what you do. I think people should recognize what you've done and what you continue to do day to day to build Michigan, to make it the best Michigan it can be. So I appreciate you spending time with us and doing what you do every day. You're in this fight
fun.
every single day.
It's fun.
You seem to enjoy
I don't care
it.
if it's elected official,
Yeah.
private sector, education, academia. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun when you can just do things that are positive.
Yeah, and people should know. They don't get to see you every day, citizen-wise, but they should know that you're out there fighting every day for them.
Yeah.
And even with you not being in the Senate currently, you're still out there working hard as if you were in the Senate.
First
for
thing I
them.
did when the election flipped and the Democrat senator took over is I called her and I said, just so you know, anytime I have an issue, I'm going to bring people directly to you.
Yeah.
Because I respect the position, and
Right.
if people reach out to me and say, hey, what can you do? I'm going to bring them right over to you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And that's what I would hope anybody would do.
Yeah. And you've always mentioned being bipartisan
Mm-hmm.
or nonpartisan, depending on how you look at it, and doing what you believe is the right thing, regardless of party affiliation. Yeah,
Yeah, well, my district was bipartisan, but for me, it's just about getting things done.
exactly.
A waste of time yelling at somebody.
Right.
I mean, if you have fun doing it.
Right.
So here's an interesting thing about politics. If you've heard of the politician and they get a lot of earned media attention, a lot of times when it comes down to actual policy and getting things done, they're useless. It's the ones you haven't heard of that are actually behind the scenes, actually getting things done.
Right.
The ones that are loud and yelling all the time, they raise a lot of money for themselves probably.
Right.
They probably couldn't even pass a bill to name a post office, though, when it comes down to it. Because behind the scenes, somebody's going to look at that person and say, oh, well, that person's an a-hole.
Right. Right.
This person just likes to yell and scream. How about just getting the job done?
Right.
How about that?
Right. Very cool. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you,
This has been
Ron.
a real delight. Thank you for supporting the program. I would be remiss not to tell the listener that you've been very, very helpful in getting us in Michigan and meeting with people that are working towards a common goal. And that's simply creating workforce opportunities, creating jobs, creating businesses and new products and ideas. It's been amazing to be here in Michigan, and I appreciate you supporting us.
What's the name of your
Offered.
podcast?
It's the I Build America
It's
podcast.
all about America,
It's
right?
all-
Why do you think we want to build these manufacturing? We want
right.
America to always be strong
We
because there's
do.
never been an experiment in government in human history like America.
Right.
Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going.
Keep it working. Let's
Mike,
keep it
We
going.
need you to keep it going, buddy.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us on the I Build America podcast,
Thanks, Ron.
Mike. Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the I Build America podcast. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and be sure to join us next time for more insights and inspiring conversations on building a powerful American workforce. I Build America, building workforce success one podcast at a time.
I build America.